Alright, we got a huge unboxing for you guys today, so let's get to it. Alright guys, I sliced two of these open, so we're gonna start with this one here. We're gonna open it up and see what we got. Now, if you've watched any of my videos on my channel, you know I'm a big Dimebag Darrell fan. There was these all came from the same warehouse, same factory, and they are a lot more accurate than the other dime replicas that I've got. So this is a Southern Cross. I'm going to compare this to the headstock. I have a real Washburn dime 333, and I'm going to compare the headstock. I'm going to actually do a tracing of it and see how it compares with this one here. They look like they're pretty close. Knob placement's pretty good. The cross is a little smaller on this, but it is set into it, so that's nice. I did notice right off the bat that the cross inlays are a little bit wrong. This one is supposed to be inverted, but it's not terrible. And we got the back of it. So this video is just going to be kind of a quick sneak peek of all these guitars. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing a complete review and demo on each one. I'm going to polish up the frets, give them a full setup, and then we'll do a playing demo on them. That's number one. This was one of my favorite dime guitars too, is the Southern Cross. It's got a nice top on it. These are not photo flames, these are actual veneer tops, so they're just a real thin veneer, but there's movement in the top when you look at it. And I had one other of these crosses, and it was a little bit shorter. This body looks right. It's got the points on it are the right size. The body looks right. And it's got a nice neck profile, kind of a medium C. Yep, I like this one. Now they're all kind of my favorite dimes, honestly. So here we have the bolt. Now these aren't actually painted. This is just a graphic on it, but it's actually pretty good. It's not real pixelated. Frets are definitely going to need some work. I'm going to have to, they're not sharp on the edges, but they're very scratchy, so I'm going to have to do a lot of some fret dressing on it. Headstock looks good. It's not huge and oversized. It is offset. You know, the top horn on it is, top point's a little bit bigger. Love that bolt, that blue. That's sharp looking. Yep, dig that. On the top. It's the other way around on this one. I don't know which one this one is. All right. Oh wow. Oh yeah. I don't thought. Windy out here in Alaska. Wow. It's a dime slime, guys. And I've got an actual Washburn dime 333 that you've seen on my other video, which I'll link in the description. Wow. Yeah, it's got some, it's almost like a mixture of quilt and flame. It's got some movement in it. Boy, that's pretty awesome, guys. So far, so good. Man, that green, that slime, that looks great. Same headstock, yeah. Well, these are, whoever company's doing these are pretty good. I said they're not exact, but you know these are just replicas, so they're not going to get exact. But wow! All right, one more to go, guys. I have another one of these, but it's not very accurate. A lot of styrofoam on this one. All right. So we have a Rebel. I have another one, but it's not accurate at all. It's too short. Knobs are all in the wrong spot. Now this one here, I actually started the knobs a little bit lower, which is kind of weird. The other ones are really, really accurate. This one here is not quite on the knobs. They're better. It's better than the other one I've got, but they're still a little bit off. They all have the same kind of neck profile. Now this one here is not from the same factory that made those three. This one here, on the back of it, you can see it's got a little bit bigger diamond volute on it. So it's from another factory. Those three there are all from the same place. And I notice this one doesn't have the great southern trend colors on the side like my other Rebel has. It has the offset headstock too, though. Really like that bolt and the slime. I said this one comes from a different factory. Headstock's a little bit bigger on this one. It's not quite as accurate. It's more accurate than the one I've got. Stay tuned next few weeks here, guys. We're going to be going over each one of these, doing a full setup on them, complete review, good, the bad, the ugly, and we'll do a playing demo on each one of them. Edges are a little bit sharp, so we're going to dress those and then polish up the frets. The fretboard on this one's pretty nice looking. It's not super dark. It's like abalone or fake abalone inlays. Really impressed with this veneer top on this one. Depending on the light, you know, it'll really pop. I don't know if I can get it to show up here or not, but depending on the angle. And like I said, in the background, you have to ignore the floor is not finished. Like I said, we live off-grid in Alaska. We built our own house, and it's not quite finished. I got, you know, flooring to put in, trim, and different things. If you're interested in off-grid living or Alaska content, check out the description for my main channel. It's called Our Alaska. It is an offset headstock. Like I said, I'm going to be comparing to my actual dime I have right here. It's an actual, you know, real, well, it's, you know, both made in China, which is funny, but that's, you know, a licensed dime 333 from the early 2000s. I'm going to do a shootout between these two guitars too, down the road. But the headstock's really close on these. It has a small diamond volute. The three that I bought this time around are way more accurate than the other two I had bought. Body shape is way more accurate. Headstock, just nicer looking woods, and they're just, the overall quality is better. You know, we still have the small pots. That kind of thing doesn't really matter to me because I'm going to be swapping out every bit of the hardware on this guitar. I'm going to be putting CTS pots in, new switch, jack, a brand new trim. Probably going to go with a Schaller or Lockmeister. And I'll put actual Grover tuners, although tuners don't matter a whole lot. You know, they're kind of out of the equation once they're locked. But the ratio on these, I don't know what it is, but it takes quite a bit of turning before you actually get anywhere with them. So I'm just going to get rid of those. You know, it has that Buzz Fighting Tuning System sticker on it. It does not have that. So, you know, that's just put on there. At least it doesn't say Made in USA on it. Although, you know, they do put the logo, which I kind of wish they wouldn't. If I could just get the plain headstock. I've had custom decals made in the past that just, you know, they had different things on it. You can put a custom decal and make it look the same font, but just not to say that on there. I really wish they wouldn't do that. But, you know, a lot of people like to have that on there, so like I said, we're going to take care of the frets, condition up the fretboard, put some new strings on this, and I'm going to set it all up and do a playing demo on this guitar. Like I said, coming over the next few weeks, we'll be doing demos on the other guitars that you just seen. And, you know, so far I'm really happy with the quality on these. You know, is it, you know, custom shop, you know, Washburn quality? Of course not. You know, you're not going to get that for a guitar that's less than $300 shipped. But I'm really shocked at how decent these guitars are for the money. You know, it's I don't know how they really can do these at that price point. But, you know, for people like me that, you know, don't really have a ton of money just to waste on, you know, one single guitar. If you wanted the real, you know, USA D3 Washburn Dime Slime, you're going to pay $10,000 or more if you can even find one. You know, even the imports are bringing crazy money now. So, you know, these things are good bang for the buck and great modding platforms. All right, let's get to work. Unblock our trim here. Already unlock, we're going to unlock our nut. Take these completely off. Got different strings. You know, I got some Dime DRs 9 to 50. These are for more down tuning. I'm not going to set this one up in down tuning. I'm just going to do standard tuning on this. So I think I'm just going to do some Running Ball Super Slinkies on this one. One thing to look for on these is make sure your string retainer bar is down enough to where it's pushing the string down flush. See how this one's not quite, so this would need to be a little bit more, and that way this thing sets flat when it's tuned up, and the locking pads here can really push down on the string. So make sure once you get it tuned up, this is down low enough that it's pushing it just so it's sitting down into those saddles. Like I said, setting up a Floyd Rose is kind of a pain to a degree. It's basically balancing your string tension with your spring tension in the back. So it's tuning, adjusting, either loosening the screws on the claw or tightening, depending on if your trim is lifting up or setting back. And then you just got to keep it. So it's just to keep processing through, you know, adjusting your strings and adjusting your tension. It's just time consuming, but you'll get there. It's daunting when you're first learning how to adjust them. I know, because when I first was learning, I was like, oh, this is going to be impossible, but it's not. Whatever was on these strings, I don't know. I did a little test play real quick on it, and there was like some kind of, they were just sticky, just drug on my fingers and left black. It just, yeah, it's nasty. I can feel it right now. Don't know what it was, just, I guess because they're cheap, crappy strings. And we'll put a little bit of tape over top our string blocks. That way, as we're moving the guitar around, we don't lose them. It's just a good thing to get used to doing. That way we don't have to worry about those, because I've not done it in the past and lost stuff. And we'll get our measurement of our nut. And we're getting 43.0 millimeter, or 1.694 inches. 12th fret. Reading 53.25 millimeter, or 2.096 inches. First fret neck depth, reading 0.991. We'll get our neck depth at the 12th fret, reading 0.968. So on our bridge pickup, we're reading 11.92. Neck 0.9, middle 5.139. And tape off our fretboard. It's very monotonous, but we don't want to damage things as we're working on our frets. Drop a comment, guys. How many of you work on your own guitars, or do you just, have a tech work on them? I used to send everything out to get worked on, but it's expensive. A lot of times it came back and it just wasn't really good as I thought it should be. So I started, first off, I got that Dan Earlywine book, on how to work on electric guitars. That was pretty good, looking through that. But now there's so much stuff online, you can look up anything you want to learn how to do. So that's what I started doing, learn how to do setups on my own. And started moving on now to learning how to do fret work. Next up is actually doing a full refret. So that's I'm going to find me an old neck and learn how to do that, because I've got a couple of guitars. If you watch some of my other videos, those vintage guitars I have, two 1982 Strats, they both need some fret work. I'm going to replace the frets, put jumbo frets on them. But I'm going to do it myself after I've had a lot of practice. I learned how to do wiring so I could do my own pickups and replace pots. And the only thing I haven't done, beyond fretwork is like do a headstock break. So I'm actually kind of looking for a project. I've been scouring eBay and Reverb, looking for something that's got a headstock break, Gibson style or Epiphone, something that's got that type of headstock where I can learn how to do that kind of a repair. Here in Alaska, it's very difficult to find, there's not that many shops to begin with, guitar shops. And I've kind of not come across any in my area that will do the kind of fret work that I need done. The ones I talk to are actually hesitant to even do a level and crown, so stuff I'm going to have to figure out how to do myself. I've done some spot leveling here and there. I've got to get some more tools so that I can do a full level and crown. But it's all stuff I'm working on learning how to do. I think it's good to know how to do it on your own. I like working on guitars. It's kind of therapeutic to me. And we're just going to address our frets. Just basically just kind of rounding off the edges. Just get rid of that sharpness is all we're trying to do. I'll flip this over here so a little more room to work. Alright, we got our frets all filed on the edges. They're all smoothed up, no more sharp edges. Now we're going to use our micro mesh polishing pads. And you see these go from 1500 all the way to 12,000. So we'll work our way up. We'll do the edges first, and then we'll go across all the frets, and then we'll follow it up with the polish. Alright, that was our final micro mesh. And we'll polish them up now with just some polishing compound. Although, I don't really need it, but we'll do it anyway. So they're all polished up now. Pull our tape off, and we'll clean and condition the fretboard. Now I'm going to do something that's kind of a personal preference, and Dean was doing this on a lot of their MLs a while back, and I'm just going to take some steel wool and I'm just going to knock down the shine on the back of the neck. So I've taped off where I want to keep the steel wool from hitting, and then it'll just be the playing surface, and it makes it for a nice, smooth, satin feeling neck. I don't like the glossy necks. And basically all I'm going to do is just rub the steel wool on the back of the neck until I've knocked the shine down, which you can starting to do now. Now, as you can see, it's really knocked the gloss off of that. So it just makes a really nice feeling neck. Now we got a nice clean line from our tape. And we'll just wipe this down. And there's a better shot of the back of the neck now. This makes a super smooth playing neck. So the truss rod access is a lot nicer on these guitars too. And just an Allen head access. We're going to use some of our Dunlop fretboard cleaner and prep. See, they've gotten a little bit of polishing compound in the fretboard and the wood, so we'll just use a toothbrush, try to get it out of the pores. All right, then we're going to use some of our Dunlop fretboard lemon oil. It's got some nice grain to it. This looks a little different. Now, some of these fretboards I think are rich light. This looks like it's actually some sort of wood. Again, they don't say what it is, and I have no idea what it could be. It does look like it could be, I don't know, maybe it's Pal Ferro, if that's how you say it. Or it could be rich light. I'm not positive. This does look more like actual wood, though, than the rich light. We'll let that soak in for a few minutes, and then we'll wipe off the excess. We got our fretboard all conditioned up, our frets are all done. All right, we'll kind of clean up the body a little bit here, and then we'll get her all strung up. All right, time for some strings. Everybody has a different way of stringing Floyds. I just leave the ball end on the headstock. Some people hate doing that, but just the way I do it. I usually pull the string just past the bridge, snip it off. Now, if you're a Dime fan, you always notice probably that he has black tape across his pickups, and if you don't know why, when he was dumping the trim and pulling back up, sometimes the strings, the high E and low E, get caught underneath the edge of the pickup. Now, I've never had that happen to me, but I don't use the bar aggressively, so I'm just going to do it for the sake of aesthetics. So we're going to put some black tape on there just so we can look cool like Dimebag. Another thing that Dime did, or his tech Grady did, was use a soldering iron and they would put little holes all the way around the knobs. That way when you reach down and get it, because these are pretty slick, you had something to get a hold of, so it kind of gives you some grippers. So we're going to plug our soldering iron in. We're going to do the same thing on this. And we'll continue to string up while we're waiting for our soldering iron to heat up. All right, let's give this a try. Let's see how this goes. Well, pretty good, I guess. I think it worked pretty good. All right, we'll do the other ones. Wow, yeah, you can definitely grip it now. Interesting. Really stinks, though. Things like what? Oh, burning plastic. I'm all done. Interesting. So we checked our, yep, right about 1. And about the same thing on the low E. Let's check to see if we got any buzzes. We must have a high fret somewhere in here. We have to check that. So we tap that fret in, so we'll see if it helped. Perfect. It was just a 1 high fret there, so we just was able to seat that back in. Alright, I think we got her all set up good. Let's plug her in and see how it sounds. Not a lot of taper on these pots. All right, another thing plays really good. This is one of the best ones I've gotten so far of these dime chime bags. You know, the China fakes, replicas, whatever you want to call them. This one plays really nice. The hardware on this one isn't as bad, but it's going out of tune a bit if you really abuse the trim. I'm planning on putting, you know, new trim. I'm looking at the Schaller Lockmeister and actual Grovers. The pickups don't actually sound bad, but I'm getting a little bit of there's some grounding issues somewhere, so I'm going to replace all the electronics. These, to me, are worth doing the upgrades on, since everything else seems to be pretty good on them. Like I said, the top on this thing, you know, it changes in the light, depending on the angle. You know, it sounds good, it plays good. If I can get the grounding situation, you know, sorted out, maybe it might not even replace the pickups in this one. Maybe just replace the pots and do some shielding and replace the rest of the hardware. That mod that I did there, that actually works really slick. Using the soldering iron to do that mod like Dime had on his. That works really nice. Frets turned out really nice too. I'm surprised that, you know, just really surprised at how decent these guitars really are for the money. You know, this is less than $300 shipped to my door all the way in Alaska. You know, if you're in the States, you know, the lower 48, it's going to be, you know, free shipping on all this stuff. I have to pay a little bit of shipping to get it up here. It's definitely worth it. I've got a few more of these to do. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be doing the Bolt, the Southern Cross, and the Rebel. All of them are going to need fret work, and I'll do all a setup on them. I've got the action pretty low on these, and like I said, I had a couple high frets, and I was able to tap those back into place, so that wasn't really a huge issue. If you don't mind working on these, you know, they're great, great for the money. You know, you can't expect them to be perfect. They're just not going to be out of the box. The action was a mile high on this thing. Frets were scratchy, had sharp fret ends, and a couple high frets. So if you can manage, you know, those issues, you can end up with a pretty nice guitar. And this thing, I mean, it looks freaking awesome. I mean, as Dime would say, you know, get your pull off that. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.